Hey guys, I'm back with another video today. This is going to be another more casual video, but I have some exciting news and I need some help. Okay, first off, as you can see, still packing things back there. Check out what I found today. Anyone know what this is? Anyone know what this is? Only, you'd have to be about my age to know what this is. Okay, this was big when I was young. Things have been exciting in Marvel Strike Force. All kinds of stuff going on. We got Pocket Dimension. They have that content creator tournament going on. I don't know, cool stuff there. What is really interesting is, and this was brought up to me in the comments section just recently, they updated the raid store. So these are now significantly more accessible. So these are like the mini uniques, I guess the uniques for characters. And this is the teal uniques, which was a pretty significant bottleneck for me on both Apocalypse and Dark Dimension. Now these are extremely accessible. These are readily available. So let me show you my progress on the Apocalypse journey now. Because of that, I've actually made a ton of progress on there. So if we go over to the versus battle favorites, which we're almost done with. Check this out. This is it. We just got 2 more characters. We got 2 Hulks, and they're literally just ready right here. They just need a few more blue eyes. I thought about, there's a $5 pack last night. You know, I was close, but I said, you know what? It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if I get Apocalypse now or a week from now. But I'm so close with these guys. So very exciting to almost get Apocalypse done, and that is nice because then we can move on to the next thing. And you know, hopefully we don't complete everything in Marvel Strike Force, because you know, then what do I have to look forward to in the morning? All right, if there's nothing else to complete in this game. But we still have Dark Dimension 7, so we'll be okay. But Dark Dimension 6 Super Scroll, finally, I think I am going to start gearing up for this. So today I'm going to go on msf.gg. I want to show you guys my plan, and I have a couple of blank spots on there. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. If you have any ideas, any recommendations. I know there's some characters that have been recommended in the past that I'm like, I'm not sure about. I don't know if I quite agree with them. And I have some new ideas. One particularly new idea that I've never heard suggested before that I think is, some people may call me a fool for some of my ideas, but perhaps I would consider it on the cutting edge. So anyways, let's cut over to msf.gg. I'll show you the Dark Dimension Planner on there. Here we are in the Dark Dimension Planner and Google. So look at all these tabs I have on here. Remember DC Unchained? Any longtime viewers, huh? How about that? This is what I'm looking at for Dark Dimension 6, okay? There are some, let me start with the simpler ones, okay? And then we're gonna go, perhaps this one is what you're looking at and you're like, what is this guy thinking? This is absolutely insane. So non-horseman, legendary, and legendary Apocalypse, I think, sometimes people don't like Nova. I like Nova. I think his area effect or arena effect is super good. So I think Nova, Black Cat, and Green Goblin are locks for legendary. Like, no question about that. I was gonna do Omega Red, but with Old Man Logan coming around, I'm just gonna do Old Man Logan instead of Omega Red. Again, Old Man Logan's not out. Almost guarantee he's gonna be better than Omega Red. I don't think there's any question about that. And then we'll use Apocalypse for this one right here at the end. And then when the one we can use Apocalypse, this was actually, I did some thinking about this. I think we're gonna sub in Dr. Octopus. There were a couple of options, like Phoenix has been buffed, Adam Warlock's there, Nick Fury's there, but really I think my best choice is Dr. Octopus, because we get some synergy with Green Goblin, and I do like the Sinister Six, and I already have Dr. Octopus built up a fair amount, so it's not going to be that hard to get him up the rest of the way. So anyways, that's the legendary. I think those are relatively straightforward, but you know, if you have any thoughts, feel free to let me know down below. Now we got the global. All right, so global, I think these are the standards. Okay, I don't think there's any question about this. We got Apocalypse, he's going in there. There's no question about that. I would be unwise to not include Apocalypse here. Quicksilver, I think, is another block. I don't think people question that. Black Knight, I do not have a lot of experience with, but everyone talks about how great Black Knight is, and my understanding is he does really well in Dark Dimension, also because I think he loses some of his perks when he becomes exhausted, but there is no exhausted in Dark Dimension, so he's kind of consistently really good in there. And then I think the next best global character is Nightcrawler. I feel that is a fair assessment, but we have that 5th slot. I don't know who I'm going to put there, if anyone has any ideas. I have a couple of thoughts myself. So if we're taking a look at global, of course we have the new Mercs for Money team. And we're always looking to the newer characters because their stats are going to be better. For better or for worse, that's how this game works. A couple of characters that have caught my eye on this list. I could do Dr. Doom. I should mention, because of the raid store changes, I'm not concerned about gear. Leveling is going to take a little bit for this, but gear is no issue. So I know some of these characters are more expensive, or there could be overlap. I'm not concerned about any of that. Okay, that's really not a problem at all. They've opened up the floodgates on teal. All right, so we don't got to worry about that one bit. But if we take a look at global, there's a few characters here. I think Dr. Doom appeals to me. I think if nobody says anything, I'm probably going to put Dr. Doom in here. Is he, you know, Dr. Doom's fine. I think he's been power crept a significant amount. And then there's not a ton of good options here. Spider Weaver, I used her in the last Dark Dimension. It was useful when she would prevent your team from getting hit, but it was like, I don't know, 4 attacks for like a long, you know, it can be like a 10-20 minute battle. You know, it's like, was it really that helpful? I don't know. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to use Iron Patriot or the leader. Now, maybe I'd want to use both. You know, maybe I'd end up cutting Nightcrawler if I wanted to put those 2 Cabal in there. I'd probably just put one of the Cabal in because I already have Nightcrawler built up a significant amount, so it'd be like no need to use more resources. I really think one of them might be the way, just because they're new. They're used in Cabal, they're used for Old Man Logan, they're used in the Pocket Dimension coming up, so I do have them fairly built up. And I don't know, I've been relatively impressed with their kits. I think they're fairly good. I think they would mix in relatively well with the rest of these characters here. So I am relatively interested by the thought of putting Cabal there. So curious what your thoughts are for that last global character. Cosmic is very similar to Global, where I think these 4 characters are unquestionable. I think Dormammu used to be considered a more expensive choice in terms of gear, but like I said, we don't care about gear anymore. We're fine. Vol is like the most important character to put here. They are simply incredible. They were really good in Dark Dimension 5. I'm going to bring Vol again. Vol's really good too. I want to keep using Vol. They're just a very strong character. Kang, I think he's getting worse, I will say, because he really just does damage, that's it. And I think in terms of, like, he's getting power crept slowly. I still think Kang is to the top of the Cosmic roster. I don't think Kang's worth taking out yet. I do think of these 4 characters, Kang would be the next one to get dropped if there were to be some better Cosmic characters that came around. Kestrel, really good. She's consistently really good. Whenever she attacks people that get defense down, that's just incredible. It really speeds up the process here. And of course, this 5th one, it's going to be Super Skrull whenever I go through it again. Dormammu, really good right here, so he's not getting removed. And then we're going to put Super Skrull here. But for that first run, you know, who are we going to put for this 5th character? I know very popular choice right here is Void Knight. I know a lot of people suggest Void Knight. I'm not quite sold on Void Knight. I know he's good in the PvP context. I'm not sure if he's really that good in the context of an ongoing PvE mode that is not raids, because he gets all kinds of boosts when he's in raids. I mean, if we're taking a look at his kit right here, we're seeing some big attacks with relatively long cooldown, not a lot of options for him to get that back, that ability energy back. A lot of his kit is hidden behind Hive Mind and raids, so without Hive Mind or raids, I think he loses a lot of his utility. Honestly, sorry, I've been packing up my room, you know, things are falling down here. Honestly, the only utility that he has here is this ultimate where he gets to pull everyone together. That is mildly useful. That is relatively good. Is it worth it? You know, it's like, I guess Kestrel special could hit more people now. Like Ball could hit more people now. Like, I don't know. And probably by the time the next wave drops, Void Knight would get to pull everyone together again. But like, that's it. That's all Void Knight's doing for me, as far as I can see. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody let me know down in the comments below if you think there is somebody else instead of Void Knight. Obviously, we could use Mephisto. Wouldn't that be nice? I used Icarus on the last Dark Dimension. I think similar to Kang, he is getting slowly like phased out. Like, he really doesn't have a lot of utility. So as better and better characters come out stat wise, Icarus becomes less and less useful. I do not think he is who I would go for next. I would probably put Icarus in after I'd put Void Knight in, but I would put Photon in before I'd put Icarus in, but after Void Knight. So that's kind of, Photon's like my second choice here. I do like Photon. Again, I've mentioned before, Photon, I think people are kind of, they're not super fans of. I don't think they like her outside of like war context. I've always been very impressed with Photon's abilities. I've always thought she's done a lot of damage. I think she's newer than Icarus, So I'd rather put her in instead of Icarus. I think Icarus loses a lot too when he's not with Cersei. So I don't know. I think that's a really appealing choice, putting Photon in there. There's also Deathpool, but like there's not a lot of characters dying that consistently in Dark Dimension, so I'm not really sure if Deathpool would get a lot of use. I think probably, even though I'm not sold on Void Knight, I'm probably going to trust what everyone else says. I'm going to put Void Knight in, and if anyone in the comments says don't do Void Knight, I'll probably put Photon in, unless somebody says otherwise. So that's my tentative plan. Now let's talk about the city here. This is my big idea. Okay, this was like my like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna be crazy. So city, I think traditionally, especially like for the last Dark Dimension, you're gonna use Robbie Reyes. You would put Miss Marvel in here, and like that's kind of a standard 2 comp right there. And then there's a few other things you could do, like you could do a Sinister Six, like that's what I did. I had Kraven, I think I used Lizard, and then I used Vulture too, maybe Mysterio in there. I might have used Mysterio, and so as such I filled out the rest of the team with the Sinister Six since they're recently buffed. I wasn't really feeling the power there when I did that. They didn't feel all that strong. You know, you could go for more of a Spider team. Like I know some people, I think, try to use Spider-Man 2099 and Big Time Spider-Man. I'm not really sold on it there. I think honestly, City about like a year ago was the strongest section with Robbie Reyes and Miss Marvel. Like those are very strong characters. But similar to Void Knight, I really feel Robbie Reyes and Miss Marvel are built for PvP. They do big burst attacks, a ton of damage. And then that's it. They just kind of sit around for a bunch of turns, I really feel, until their cooldowns come back online. Like really they're meant for a PvP setting where they use all their abilities and then the match ends. You know, they're not really meant to just keep going in these long-term modes like Dark Dimension, at least in my opinion. I also like Cloak and Dagger. I have them really highly built. I like Cloak and Dagger a lot. I think they're really fun characters. I think we're pushing the utility at this point, using them Dark Dimension 6. I think they're too old to really make it up at this level. I do like them though. I just want to put that out there. I'm not going to use them, but I really do like Cloak and Dagger. I think those two are really fun combo characters. So, you know, a lot of the characters that are here are either outdated or I think are more PvP oriented, like Sinister Six 2. That also applies to them. I think generally they do not do that well in long-term modes. Mysterio does well just because he's Mysterio. He's really good in terms of like not dying. And Kraven you'd think would do really well because he has this ramping charge for increased damage. And I don't know, last time I did Dark Dimension with Kraven, he just died. Like he didn't really get to ramp up that high. Like Kraven was not that useful. I was not impressed with him. And there's a, you know, I could do like a Red Goblin Gwenom. I could do vaguely like a Hive Mind type of you know, duo there. I'm not sold on the two of them really being that useful just by themselves. So this is my big idea. Okay, I'm saying let's use Spider Society right here. I think they're brand new. Okay, so their stats are like top of the line. They're guaranteed to be useful for a long time because we're going to need them in raids for probably at least a year. We're going to need them for a long time in raids, so they're not going anywhere. I think they're a diverse team in terms of origin. So, I mean, you can see right here, out of all the categories, I only need those ballistic weaves for SpiderMan Noir. Like, this is the most complete. Again, this is not counting for levels. All these characters need to be leveled up. But I actually have a lot of this gear already because they come from so many different backgrounds. We take a look at these characters' kits. I think, honestly, they're really good. SpiderMan Noir, probably the weakest of this team. This Ultimate's pretty good. Otherwise, you know, I mean, when an enemy gains a positive effect, it fills a speed bar a little bit. I mean, I guess that's something. I'd say Spider-Man Noir is probably the weakest link in this team. Spider-Gwen, I have been really impressed with, honestly. I knew they boosted her numbers, but she has like, I mean, she does a ton of damage right now. I also do have a lot of diamonds on her. So like my Spider-Gwen is very strong. Like she hits incredibly hard. It is like crazy how much damage she does. And we got some ability block on here, some evade. We got some more negative effects coming out from her. I think honestly, really good. I think she does a lot of stuff. And the Spider Society team, I don't feel a lot of their kit is locked behind raids. So they're meant to have these like long ongoing battles. And I think a lot of this would carry over to Dark Dimension. And considering how new they are compared to when Dark Dimension 6 came out, I think that would balance out the fact they're not getting some of the raid boosts with how old this content is they're performing in. Spider-Man Pavitra over here, people love him. He actually has a lot of utility in this game. He can gain a lot of speed. And again, we have some raid stuff, but you know, he gets a ton of speed up. He gets drain. I assume this is not exclusive to the raids because this says period after in raids. So I think he gets this stuff outside of raids as well. But he is giving his team crit chance, crit damage, focus, which is very good for Dark Dimension. And their focus is probably also really good because they're newer characters. We got tons of speed up, and then he's giving speed to the team, rebounding here, dealing tons of damage, applying offense down. He's giving more speed up, clearing slow. I mean, tons of positive effects and negative effects coming out from Spider-Man here. Really good. We look at Peter Parker. I think another weaker link in the team, similar to SpiderMan Noir. I think he's less exciting, but we got death proof defense up. Really good to have that when we spawn into the match. He prolongs positive effects. He's going to support the team a lot. He's clearing negative effects with his ultimate here. He's clearing heal block. He's applying regeneration. He's healing people. I mean, I think there is a ton of support coming out for Peter B. Parker right here that would be very useful for these long-term Dark Dimension battles. I feel like there's a lot of sustain coming out from Peter B. Parker. And then Penny Parker is just like a great character. Penny Parker is really strong. I mean, look at... Oh my goodness, look at this passive right here. Just all kinds of stuff from her. Tons of ability energy right here. We really like that with the basic attack, ability energy for self and all Spider Society allies. So she's giving out a ton of ability energy to the team, which is very useful to keep them running in this Dark Dimension mode. Deflect up. She's giving immunity. Like, oh my goodness, immunity. Like, that's really good right there. Ability block to support enemies. She's applying deflect, counter, death proof, and defense up. And look how little of this is locked behind raids, like just right here. You know, I mean, yes, it would be nice if we got trauma from her. That would be really good. And if we look down here, you know, yeah, it would be nice if she generated like additional energy when she spawned. But I think a ton of Penny Parker's kit is still present here outside of raids. I really think the Spider Society team would perform quite well in Dark Dimension 6. So I don't know. I think that's a newer thought. I don't think many people have considered that as a potential, just because it sounds kind of dumb to use a raid team. But I think the stars have aligned with the Spider Society team that they're really going to be useful. So I don't know, unless somebody can give me like a really good case down below, I'm probably going to do Spider Society. And even if somebody does give me a really good case, I may still do Spider Society out of stubbornness, because I don't know, I came up with the idea, I want it to work. So anyways, that's what I'm looking at right now in terms of Dark Dimension 6. I think legendaries are pretty set in stone. I'd love any advice you guys have for our last character for global and cosmic. And then, I don't know, what do you think about my city idea? Is this kind of crazy? I hope this is helpful to anyone else that's looking toward Dark Dimension. Dark Dimension is a difficult mode to find resources on because it consistently evolves with new characters. As new characters come out, the older ones get bumped out. Like I'm talking about will probably happen with characters like King. So it's hard to find modern resources about this. So I hope this discussion about me like in 2024 going into Dark Dimension 6 has maybe provided some useful information if you're looking into Dark Dimension 6. But I don't know. At the end of the day, what do I really know? I am just a 22-year-old. I'll see you guys in the next episode for the Tigra review. Y'all have a nice rest of your day. Bye, everyone.